Welcome back. To preview Saturday's Premier League match between Sunderland and Southampton at the Stadium of Light. Pascal, start with the home side, picked up a decent point at Stoke City last time around.
That's a good point there. Stoke obviously have had some impressive results recently. I think Sunderland in that game, they probably would have gone there, maybe thought, we'll probably take a draw in this one, maybe try and nick a win. But I think a draw is an okay result there. Obviously still keeps them, they're okay in the relic. They're in the bottom three as it stands, but, they've still got a decent chance of getting out. It's very, very close between them and sort of the sides above. They've sort of pulled away 3 points clear of QPR. So at the moment, it looks like if any of the bottom three sides are going to pull out, it's probably going to be them. But the Stoke game, Connor Wickham getting on the score sheet again, that's 2-2 for him. They certainly need goals from somewhere because they haven't really had a striker. Jermaine Defoe's had his moments. He had that one chance, there was an amazing pass from Lee Catmull outside of the boot to Jermaine Defoe, hit the side netting in a sort of position where you usually back him. He's usually very good with those bouncing balls, got great technique, but couldn't quite stick it away. The Wickham goal, very scrappy, very early on in the game. Obviously, sort of a bit of a cliche, but you say he scored too early. From then on, Stoke are always going to try and push, and it was a cracking goal from Charlie Adam to get the equaliser. Fantastic strike. Nothing at all that Sunderland could do about that one. But a point's okay there, and you look at the bottom three. 1 point now behind Leicester, 1 point behind Hull. Very, very close down there. So at the moment, you'd probably say they are the favourite to go down out of the sides, still in with a decent chance, but there's still a long way to go.
Some of their form's been good enough, is it really? I think it's 1 win from 10, and it's been poor, isn't it? They've struggled all season, really, and are they going to get out of it? It's a big ask, and since Dick Advocaat came in, they've done okay. 4 points out of 4 games since he's been in charge, and obviously the win over Newcastle would have appeased the fans, but I think Newcastle were terrible that day. Sunderland, it was the Defoe goal, wasn't it? A cracking goal. And you mentioned Defoe, he's got 3 league goals since he came on, which is not great, isn't it? He's not awful either, but he's done okay. But you fancied he would sort of fire them up the table, wouldn't it? But he's had that spell in playing for Toronto, so maybe he's lost a bit of sharpness. But I'd say their form just hasn't been good enough. And I think 14 goals at home this season, no team scored fewer. I think it's Burnley and Villa, isn't it, who scored 14 as well at home. So you always, it's like I say, it's a cliche as well saying about your home form, but it is always important when you're at the bottom of the table because Sunderland are not very good away from home. They concede a lot of goals, so their home form is always important, but they just don't score enough goals. And you look through, I say Wickham's in decent form. Can he make it 3-3? Well, I certainly hope so. But Advocaat's came in, he's tightened them up. He's done an okay job, but he's not been given. You can't really judge him, can you? Now it's coming. It's not his team. It's not his squad, but they're in a lot of trouble, and this is a really big game for him.
Yeah, certainly. But he hasn't had the same sort of impact as you look at Sherwood, how he's done there. So he certainly, Sunderland probably would have hoped that he could have had a bigger impact than he has. But they're still in there. But you look at their running, and you wonder, have they got any chance? You look at Southampton. One of the sides, top 6 side of Southampton, well, 7th side of Southampton are, and then they've got Everton away. Everton playing their best football of the season. Then they host Leicester. That's the huge one because depending on how other results go, that might be the only game they can realistically win. And if they get 3 points there, it might not even be enough. And then the games after that, Arsenal and Chelsea away, to probably the 2 best sides in the league at the moment away from home. So their running is really difficult, probably the most difficult out of all the sides down there. So it's so hard to say, are they going to go down or not? Because there's so many sides down there that you think, probably aren't good enough to stay up. But just with the run-ins, at this stage of the season, it is so important the teams you play. Leicester at home is probably the only game where you say some of them might be favourites out of any of the games. So very, very tough running for them, and things do look really bleak at the moment.
Yeah, it's a big ask for Sunderland, isn't it? Moving on to Southampton, people start the season thinking they're going to be involved in the relegation battle. Obviously, you're a million miles away from that. Last time out against Spurs, the battle of, obviously the thing with Pochettino going back to his old club with Spurs, and it was a good game, wasn't it? Entertaining game. It was the early start, there was a good crowd down at St Mary's. It was a good afternoon as well, lots of goals, and I think it was important for Graziano Pella, wasn't it, to get cut the goals. They were good goals as well. The first one, sneaked in against Davies, wasn't it? The fullback poked into the bottom corner, and the second one was a brilliant header. He's got that in his arsenal. He's been, he's struggled goal wise since that excellent start he made to the season. His goal record across his career has been very good. And to be fair to Spurs, they came back. A couple of Chadley, the second goal. Can the defender do a little bit better down there? I think he probably can, can't he? And to go ahead twice and to not win the game, would obviously been disappointed. But I think after the game, he listened to Ronald Koeman and he was fairly pleased with it. Not to get beat against Spurs, because Spurs would obviously gone above them if that was the case. Oh, they're 7th above them at the moment, sorry, but they'd have pulled further clear. And to get a point is not the worst result in the world. And there were some good performances, and Alderweireld come back in, come into midfield, did quite well. So it's a decent point overall, and can be pleased with that.
Definitely. You look at the table though, and the sides. Spurs have gone off the ball a bit. United not playing their best football season. Liverpool, they're really struggling at the moment. So Southampton, it's only 1 win in 4 overall for them at the moment. And you think if they could have gone on a really nice little run, they could have got themselves right back into the top 4 race. And
look at their remaining 4 fixtures. Sunderland's a very winnable game, and they go to Leicester, then they host Aston Villa. So the next 3 games are all against sides right there in the relegation scrap, which at this stage of the season might not necessarily be a good thing. Obviously, there's some of the worst teams in the league with their overall record, but this how much more they have to play for now. Southampton, they want to try and play for that European spot, only a point behind Liverpool in that race for 5th place, and they finished the season at City, which is a very difficult way to finish. But in the next 3, I think Koeman will say, I know these sides, they are right there at the bottom. They're playing absolutely fine for their lives, but these are games we should be winning. We're a better team than these 3 teams, so I think he'll want 9 points out of 9 from these, especially as their form recently has dipped a bit. Like I said, just 1 win in 4. So certainly there's still an outside chance they can get in. They're 8 points behind Man United. It has to go very, very wrong for them, to drop out. But Southampton, like you say, on the whole, fantastic season for them.
I think I'm finished 5th. I think it'd be sort of the icing on the cake when you're at the top of the battle of Tottenham and Liverpool. But this is the game they won, the reverse fixture, won 8-0 early in the season, wasn't it? It was a bizarre game, terrible from Sunderland, but great from Southampton. Can you see a similar one in this one?
It's hard to predict 8-0, isn't it? There's no way you're ever going to predict a result like that. But to be honest, I do see Southampton winning this. I think Southampton, they won't get. They're not the sort of players that are going to get phased by going to Sunderland when it's a massive game for them at the bottom of the table. I think Southampton will just nick this one 2-1.
So I'm actually going to go complete opposite. I'm going to go, well, not complete opposite. I'm going to go goalless draw. I could just see it being a bitty game. Neither side. Southampton got the best defence in the league. Sunderland struggling to score goals, but I think Sunderland might just be able to shut it out. Especially it's going to go 0-0. So you've got an away win and a 0-0 draw. Thanks for joining us.